Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in, coming back and watching. I appreciate it. I hope you're staying safe and healthy out there. And for those of you that are new, my name is Jim. I make tutorial videos here on YouTube showing you how to use various software products to enhance your images, get creative, have fun, stuff like that. Today I'm in Luminar 4 and I literally woke up thinking about some photos I took in South Dakota a couple of years ago and thinking, you know what I should do? I should make some really dramatic, moody, stormy, crazy monochromes out of that. So here's the photo. It's a road shot from somewhere in the Badlands National Park. I can't remember exactly, but it was afternoon clearly, and I just wanted to put in a new sky and get crazy. So I turned it into that. And look, I'm not trying to say this is what I saw. I'm not a photojournalist. This has nothing at all to do with what I saw. As you can see, that's what I saw. But I have to admit, this is really dang fun to do. So I'm going to reset these filters and I'm going to walk through my workflow, show you how I added the sky and did all the different things to make it look like that. And is it believable? I don't know. And truthfully, I don't know that I really care because I'm having fun. And like I said, I think that's what it's about. So I'm going to hit reset and we're going to get going and jumping into it right now. Okay, so here we are. The first thing I did is crop it 16 by 9. I'll spare you the excitement of doing that. The next thing I do is go and get a new sky. And if I know that I'm going to replace a sky, I always do that first because I know that I want to spend time once the sky's in, making sure things kind of go together. Now, this photo is a little different because, it kind of goes together-ish. But my point is, you want to make sure you match the tones and the colors and all those kind of things if you're putting in a new sky. I did a recent video about that if you want to check it out, but I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say load custom sky image and go get a custom sky for this one instead of one that's built into Luminar. So here we go. There's a sky pack in the Luminar marketplace called Power of Nature. I'm going to use this Storm Sky 3 for this photo. And there we go. That's how beautiful and easy the sky replacement is in Luminar. Now, I got to look at my notes. There's a little bit of adjustment that I do here. I think I moved that horizon up a little bit. I take relight up a little bit to like 38. I also take the temperature and the exposure down to like a -30. So I'm taking that down a little bit and taking that down as well. And so there's my new sky. And honestly, the blending is amazing. So like I said, I like to do that first because that gives me my new base image. And then I go start having the fun. And the fun for me starts in the light tool. So I'm going to start with smart contrast. And like I said, I've got to check my notes. I went pretty high here. It's a dramatic photo. So I'm not opposed to pushing sliders pretty far if I'm doing something dramatic. Highlights are coming down pretty significantly, like -84. And shadows are coming down a little bit as well, -24. Now here's a thing, and that is the light falling on the hills is clearly coming from sunlight and the shadow and stuff like that. So when I chose this sky, number one, I wanted a stormy sky, but number two, I also like the position of this lightning because theoretically, not exactly, but theoretically, you could see how if the lightning is cracking over the hill, you would be getting some light kind of cascading through here possibly, right? Now, it doesn't really explain the light down here and some of the light on the face of these, unless there's other storms raging behind you and giving off lightning as well. I totally get that it's not believable. As I said, I wanted to point that out. I am aware that the light distribution on the front of these hills doesn't exactly match the light source. Again, I'm having fun making something dramatic that's completely just made up. But if you were trying to put in a new sky and balance out the light and things like that, and you're trying to make it believable, these are the kind of things to keep in mind. So I'm aware of my shortcomings here. I'm just pointing it out in case you're doing something like that in the future. Now, I'm not using AI accent here, but I am going to use AI sky, and I'm going to go to like a 40 or 41, something about like that. That creates a little bit of darkness and drama in the sky. Now I'm going to structure, and I'm going to go like a 50 here, something like that, and a little bit of a boost as well. All I'm doing here is creating a little bit more drama. This is a dramatic photo, so I'm kind of going for it. I'm actually going to bump up saturation and vibrance, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I'm bumping those up, and then I'm going into advanced settings. And in the orange, I'm going to do a saturation of like 28 or so. Yeah, there we go, 28. And I'm going to bump up the luminance as well. And you can see what that's doing. The orange colors, which are fairly dominant in the stripe in the road as well as in the hill, are getting a little bit more punchy. I'm going to take the luminance of the yellow down, because something about like that. And now I'm going to go over to blue, and I'm going to bump up the saturation. Again, just creating a little bit more dramatic look here. And there we go. I'm just messing with the various color channels, and it doesn't look real. I get it. I'm not trying to make it look real, as I said, but I wanted to punch up those colors because now I'm going to black and white conversion, and I'm going to go ahead and convert that to a black and white. Let me go turn off the color. That's before I did the color adjustments, and that's after. So you can see, these colors, you can adjust these colors and then go convert to black and white and increase or decrease the drama there, because all these colors are prominent in the base image. So when you go convert to black and white, those edits kind of show through. It's kind of similar to doing luminance and saturation here. It's just a different way of looking at it, but I did it over here because it also gave me a punch of saturation and vibrance across the whole photo. And that's kind of what I was looking to do, make it a little bit more punchy before I converted it to black and white. Okay, while I'm here, I'm going to go get medium details. I'm going to give that like a 20-something, something like that. Someone asked me recently, why do you choose medium instead of small or large? Just because I think there's a lot of medium detail in a photo. Also, if you punch up small details a whole lot, it gets super crunchy across the photo and starts to look like a kind of a pseudo HDR, and I don't really want that look. Even though I'm going for dramatic, I don't want that look. So I often, if I use small details at all, I'll go pretty gentle on them. But I usually start with medium details, and I'm generally fairly happy with how that looks. Okay, now I'm going to pop back over here to the Creative tab. I'm going to get Mystical, and I'm going to go something like 55, something about like that, just to give it a little bit more drama. Again, completely dramatic photo. I'm going to go get a LUT as well, and I never really use LUTs, so I was kind of playing with it, and I got Tritone, and I used that just the way it defaulted to. It gave it a little bit of drama. There's before and after. I kind of like that. It kind of shifts a little bit of the contrast and the light. I don't want film grain. I do want soft focus bright, and here I'm going to about 20. And as you can see, that's going to punch some of the highlights and give them a little bit of pop. So there's before, and here's after. You can see it just kind of pops that, and I like that because the idea of lightning and the sky around it kind of getting a pop, it just kind of makes sense. If it's exploding with electricity and light, you expect it to be a little bit brighter. I think I'm done on this one. Yeah, I'm going to go over here to Orton and give that about a 25. So there we go, just another little bit of dramatic look to this photo. And now I'm off to the Pro tab, and I'm going to get adjustable gradient. And by the way, on this layer, my base layer, I use like 16 filters or tools. So it's a lot of stuff, but hey, it was fun. Okay, so top, I don't want to do contrast. Let me hit reset there. For the top, I'm going to take the highlights down, and I'm going to go pretty significant, something about like that. And I am going to increase the warmth. So something about like that. So if you look at the before and after, there's before and after. You can see it does impact the look of the photo, even though like warmth and things like that, you may not feel like you would notice because it's monochrome. You're still going to notice it. So down on the bottom, I'm taking the exposure down. I think the foreground is too bright, and I'm creating that moody look. My warmth is coming down significantly. I'm going to kind of cool that off, for lack of a better word. And here's an interesting thing. I'm going to take vibrance. I'm going to go to 100, and look what that did. It brightened up some of these where you normally would see color, basically. So let me hit reset on that, and there's before, and vibrance at 100 after. It gives it a nice little pop. I'm going to pop it again in a second, but I wanted to show you that. So here's adjustable gradient before and after. It's getting a little bit darker and a little bit moodier, and I'm kind of focusing the view. What I really want to do, and you saw the final product, is have a really clear path through the middle, kind of following that line leading to the storm. It's like you're heading into the storm, and hey, I'm not afraid of it. I'm facing the storm head on, or whatever. You know, you can make up your own little story around the photo, and that's just something I kind of do a little bit. Next, let me make sure I've got all that. Yeah. Next, I'm going to do a little dodge and burn. I click Start Painting, and I come over here, and I'm going to start with Lighten. And usually when I do this, I start at strength of 20, and my mouse is kind of small. I'm going to go a little bit brighter. I'm going to lighten some of these, and maybe a little bit across that rock face, and maybe some of this as it comes in across here, where you can kind of see the light hitting these hills. I'm just kind of mousing over this a little bit. I don't want to do too much. Maybe a little bit there, maybe a little bit there. And then I'm going to hit darken, and I'm going to leave strength at 20, and I'm going to darken some of this stuff that's already a little bit dark. All I'm really doing with dodge and burn is just impacting contrast. I'm also going to darken this section of the road over here a little bit because I don't really want your eye wandering over there. It seems kind of like a waste of time. So I'm going to do that. And you know, when you're painting dodge and burn, sometimes it's kind of hard to see what you've done. So I'm going to turn that off. And now you can see the before and the after. A little bit brighter where it was bright, a little bit darker in some of the dark spots. Again, dodge and burn for me is just kind of selectively applying contrast. That's kind of how I think about it. So that's what I did there. And now I've got color enhancer, which, Jim, there's no color. Why are we using color enhancer? Well, I'm going to show you why. Color contrast basically allows you to pick a color. And here I'm going to go to hue. I think it was 55. Let me check my notes. Where is it? No. Sorry. It is 66. So I got over here deep in the yellow, 65, 66. And basically color contrast allows you to really pop. So what it does is it brightens the color that you choose and it darkens the color that's opposite that. Well, I'm choosing yellow, so yellow is going to get brighter, and opposite of that is blue, and that's going to get darker. So let me check my numbers again. I go to a amount of about 35, and if you take a look at that, it's really popping that center stripe and creating some darkness in the sky. So there's before, right, and after. It really popped those areas. So it gives me a little bit brighter look at the lights, which are kind of yellow, and of course the street, and then the stuff that's blue, which is some of the sky, especially over on that right-hand side of the frame. It's quite a bit darker now. So one more time, before and after. So yes, even though you've turned off color and you have a black and white image, color enhancer can still come into play, as can the color sliders on the first tab under color. So that was that. Photo filter, I've got, I'm going to go to a hue of 229, and this is kind of my typical kind of silvery moonlight kind of look, something I like to do simply because I like it. No other reason. When I'm creating kind of a dark night monochrome, I kind of like that silver kind of look. And how I do it is I take the hue to like 229, 230, and then just drag the amount in photo filter. It just creates a little bit of a light blue kind of silver cast across the whole photo. Now I'm going back and I'm hitting vignette. I typically save vignette for last. In this case, I'm going to choose subject. I'm going to choose somewhere right around here in the center of the road. I'm going to say done. And I need to look at my amounts. I am going to do a -50. So something about like that. And size of about like 15 or 16. So again, just cranking up a vignette just to darken those edges, really focus the attention on the center of the road. And a great way to do that is with inner light, which I go to about 35 here. So all I've done is focus your attention on the center of the road. There's the before vignette, and there's after vignette. Now, I'm not completely done. I mean, remember, we started with this photo. We've come a long way, and that's part of the fun of it and the excitement of Luminar 4. You can do all these cool things, but that's where we are, versus where we came from. I've got a couple more things I want to do, including a tiny little trick. So I'm going to add a new adjustment layer. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to get AI Enhance. And one of the things I noticed was I wanted the center of the frame to be, and I got to check my notes, like a little bit brighter. So I'm going to use AI Accent, and I'm going to go to like 30, 31, something about like that. Here's the thing, that impacts the entire photo. So I'm going to apply it with a Radial Mask. So Radial Mask, I'm going to click and draw a circle here in the center of the frame. The Radial Mask allows me to really just focus that. By the way, you got to hit invert because it applies outside. So your edits are applying by default outside of the Radial Mask. So you click invert so that it applies inside the mask. And I'm just playing with the gradient here. You can kind of see how the gradient changes, that sort of thing based on whatever adjustments you do. But I've just put a Radial Mask on AI Enhance so that all that it does is impact the center of the frame. There's the before, just look at the center. Remember, I'm focusing your attention straight down the road, and after, there it is on. So one more time, before, off, and after, on. Just a slight bit of brightness. It's basically doing the same thing as inner brightness on the vignette filter, but I just pop that AI Enhance. And then in this case, I actually go in and drop a vignette again. And this time, I'm just focused on the center of the frame. So I'm going to go like a -45 or so, and a size of like 23, 24, something like that. And I didn't pick the subject or choose subject. It's going to default to the center of the frame, which is, basically about right there, but that's fine enough for me, really. So there's the before vignette and after. And let me show you this layer. Here's before this layer. There it is. And after this layer, a vignette to tighten up the focus, and also basically the inner light trick, which is AI Enhance with the Radial Mask to focus your attention on the center, brighten that up a little bit. And that's the whole photo, my friends. There's the before. Lazy afternoon, driving around the Badlands, just looking at these cool hills, and I had to get a street shot because I love it. And by the way, you notice that street sign over there? Now it's so dark you don't even notice it. So you do have an eraser and canvas tools if you want to go get rid of that. I don't feel like I need to because you can't even see it. So here's the massive difference we made. And the truth is, I could sit here and do things all day and continue to enhance it, but I'm fine with the photo. I like the photo. It's fun. It's different. It's dramatic and stormy. But that's my workflow, my friends. Stormy, moody, monochrome, dramatic, all those words. It kind of fits. It's fun. And it's just something I like to do. And you can do it quick and easy in Luminar 4. I hope that was helpful, my friends. If you haven't yet given me a like or a thumbs up, please do so. Subscribe, share, all that stuff. And by the way, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about it. Otherwise, my friends, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Have a great one. I'll see you really soon again, and adios.